All right, let's get right into it. There's this one phrase from a new mayor's speech that has just completely ignited a huge debate about, well, the very soul of America. We're going to break down what this phrase actually means, where it even came from, and why it's hitting such a raw nerve with so many people right now.
So this is where it all kicked off. During his inauguration, New York City's brand new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, dropped this line. And let me tell you, it was powerful and for a lot of people, pretty provocative. This wasn't just some throwaway line. It was a declaration, a mission statement.
And that, right there, is the million-dollar question, isn't it? That single phrase is just loaded with history, with ideology, and, wow, a whole lot of passion on both sides. So to really get why everyone's so fired up, we have to understand the ideas behind the words.
Okay, so at its core, what Mamdani did was pit two totally fundamental ways of seeing the world against each other. It's like a classic philosophical showdown, the individual versus the group.
So let's break this down. On one hand, you've got individualism. That's where you, the single person, are the most important unit in society. It's all about independence, self-reliance, chasing your own dreams. But on the other hand, you have collectivism. Here, the group is what really matters. The focus shifts to relationships, to the community, and the well-being of everybody together. Now, Mamdani used a really specific term, rugged individualism. And this isn't just about being independent. This is a deeply, deeply American ideal. It's that whole pull yourself up by your own bootstraps idea. The belief that you should be able to make it on your own without any help, and especially without any help from the government. I mean, this concept has been baked into the country's DNA for a long, long time.
And check this out. This phrase has a long and pretty contentious history. It was first made famous by President Herbert Hoover way back in 1928. He called it a cornerstone of American greatness. But then, 40 years later, Martin Luther King Jr. completely flipped it, saying the system was basically socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the poor. And now here we are in 2026, and Mamdani is calling to get rid of it altogether. So you see, this isn't a new debate. It's a really old one that's just been set on fire again.
So who's the person who threw this firecracker right into the middle of the public square? To really get the quote, you got to understand the guy who said it and the speech he was giving.
Zohran Mamdani is definitely not your typical mayor. For starters, he's a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. And his speech, well, people who were there said it wasn't some dry policy talk. They called it a love-besotted tour of New York. He very clearly put himself in the same political family as FDR and Bernie Sanders, and he challenged everyone to reject what he called the small expectations we've come to have for our government. So when you boil it all down, what was the speech really about? Well, according to analysts, it was about one simple, powerful idea: repossession. The goal? To take New York City back from being a playground for the super rich and to make it a place where the other 99% can actually afford to live and to thrive.
And yeah, as you can probably guess, a statement like that, from a mayor like that, well, it did not go unnoticed. The reactions were instant, they were intense, and they were completely split down the middle.
On one side, you had supporters like Harold Meyerson. He basically said, look, if you actually listen to the whole speech, it's obvious that when Mamdani said collectivism, he just meant community, a vibrant, diverse community where people actually look out for one another.
But whoa, the other side came back hard. Bishop Robert Barron said the line literally took his breath away. He immediately connected the word collectivism to the socialist and communist regimes of the 20th century. So for him, that word wasn't about community at all. It was a terrifying reminder of historical tragedies.
And of course, this massive divide just exploded online. On places like Reddit, people basically boiled down the two arguments to their absolute core. Supporters saw the warmth of collectivism as just a simple way of saying, hey, we're all in this together. It's about aggressive compassion. And they defined its opposite, the frigidity of individualism, as this cold, isolating attitude that's pretty much summed up by the phrase, fuck you, I got mine.
So why is this such a big deal right now? I mean, why does it matter so much? Because this is way bigger than one politician's choice of words. It taps right into this fundamental tension in American life. And these aren't just ideas, they have real-world consequences.
So you might be asking, what could this warmth of collectivism actually look like, on the ground? Well, for a lot of people, it's not some big government program. It's something much more grassroots called mutual aid. It's this idea of neighbors helping neighbors, not because they feel sorry for them, not charity, but out of solidarity, a shared belief that we're all connected.
And it's really practical stuff. We're talking about sharing resources like groceries or childcare and sharing skills like translating for a neighbor. It all works through these horizontal networks, meaning there's no boss, which empowers communities to solve their own problems directly. It's a real, tangible example of that community spirit Mamdani was getting at.
And there's another huge reason this whole debate is so potent right now. It speaks directly to a group of people that some are calling the precarious middle class. These are folks who, on paper, look like they should be doing fine. They've got jobs, maybe a college degree, but they feel like they are constantly living on the edge, just one medical bill or one car repair away from financial disaster.
And look, this isn't just a feeling people have. The numbers absolutely back it up. Housing costs have skyrocketed. Electricity is up 30% since 2021. College tuition feels like a crushing weight. And for a lot of people, their actual wages just haven't kept up with any of this. When you're feeling that kind of squeeze every single day, the idea of rugged individualism can start to feel less like a virtue and a lot more like a punishment.
But, and this is what makes this so fascinating, here's a tension at the very heart of this whole thing. Despite all those pressures, that core belief in individualism is still incredibly strong in America. A 2016 Pew Research poll found that a clear majority, 57% of Americans, still believe that success is not determined by forces outside of their control.
This just shows you the core paradox we're living in, right? Even as more and more people feel economically insecure, that ideal of rugged individualism still has a powerful grip on the American psyche. We have a growing number of people who feel like the system is rigged against them, yet a majority still fundamentally believe that they are the masters of their own destiny.
And that leaves us with this profound national contradiction. Mayor Mamdani didn't start this debate, not by a long shot, but he sure did put a sharp point on it. So where does that leave all of us?
In the end, it really seems like how you hear his words depends entirely on what you already believe. So what's the real fight here? Is this a battle between community and selfishness? About whether we should take care of each other or just look out for ourselves? Or is it a battle between freedom and control? About the rights of the individual versus the power of the group? That, right there, is the question at the heart of this entire debate.